Hey guys, my name is Megan. I am the owner and artist of Lolo Rose Design, and in this video I'm going to show you how I redid my dining room table, how it went from blah to fabulous just by me sanding it. So this is a how-to video, and I wanted to say that you don't have to know anything about refinishing furniture with this video. If you are interested in redoing your dining room table, that is the perfect starting piece of furniture to use because it is a flat surface. And I want to also say that in this video, I only did the top. I didn't want to do the rest of it because I want to paint it, but the skills that you learn on how I redid my top, you can do with the rest of your table. All it takes is a little bit of time and creativity. So I'm really excited. Let's jump into the supply list. Alright, first thing up, you're going to need a stripping agent. In this video, I use acetone because I like that it is low cleanup, very easy, very fast, but there are plenty of other stripping agents on the market, like one of my other favorites is Citrus Strip. Next, you're going to need a cleanup tool. I like to use mineral spirits. It's the perfect thing to neutralize the stripping agent so it no longer is working, and then it's an easy cleanup for you. Need a metal scraper. That's what I use because the acetone would melt my plastic. So if you feel like you're heavy-handed and that with the metal scraper you might gouge the wood, then go ahead and get a couple of those plastic scrapers. We're going to try and protect it as much as possible. Next, let's talk sanders. So in this video I'm using a DeWalt orbital sander. But if you're not a committed power tool user, no worries. I used this Walmart brand palm sander for 2 years before I upgraded to my DeWalt, so that's a perfect cheap option for you if you don't want to spend the money on a DeWalt orbital sander. Now you're going to need sandpaper. You're going to find this Gator sandpaper at Walmart. Take it my advice, that is the worst sandpaper. I don't know what they use to make it, but it doesn't work. Go to Home Depot and get you this purple sandpaper. You're going to need it in at least 150 grit, 220 grit. Those are the two grits I used, but if you possibly need to get a coarser sanding going, then you want to go down to like an 80 or a 60. But my word of advice is you always want to end with 220 because it'll make that wood baby smooth. In this video, I'm using an oil-based polyurethane top coat. I didn't want to stain my wood. I liked the way it naturally looked, but if you want to stain it, you're also going to want to get an oil-based stain. Please pay attention to the dry times and the coat times and what you need to do in between. You're also then going to need a brush that is specifically meant for oil-based stains. There is a difference, and that's why I'm here to help you out. And of course, safety first, you're going to want gloves for when you're staining, and you're going to want a mask for when you're sanding. I used this 3M mask with the removable cartridges. Just make sure it's one that's formulated for sanding so you can protect those lungs. First, we're going to clear this table off. It is so messy, but you know, life is life. So this is where I'm getting the acetone, and I just got a cruddy brush and an old mug that nobody ever uses, and I'm spreading it around, but I'm also just doing small sections. You want to let it kind of do its magic, but acetone works super fast, so you're going to want to make sure to work super fast. Here I'm using my metal scraper to just try to get as much of this finish off as I can before the sanding begins. The more you get off, the better, but you don't need to get everything off because the sanding will take care of the rest. Remember, you're going to want to work in small sections. You don't want to try to cover the whole table in acetone because it will stop reacting or it will continue to react and you won't have control over it. I want to point out that if you have anything in the splash zone of the acetone, like your floor or any chairs or anything that you don't want to get hit with it and you know that the acetone might damage it, definitely lay down some old towels or sheets. We're not going to be working with a whole lot of acetone to where it would soak through, but we want to make sure our workstation is safe, babies. Alright, you can see where I left off, and now I'm going to clean it with some mineral spirits. This will help stop the reaction of the acetone and really just clean this surface really well before I start sanding. And you might be asking, well, why clean before you have to sand? That's because if you have any leftover gunk or anything, it will clog up your sandpaper and it's just going to be more of a headache. You're just going to have to replace your sandpaper more often than you should. So let's just really give it a good little clean, a good little dry before we start this sanding process. Now it is time for my favorite part, the sanding. Here I'm using sanding discs that are made, well, they're supposed to be used with my orbital sander, and it is at 150 grit, and you can see this grit don't play around. He may be small, but he is mighty. And the reason also why I'm trying to go with a lower grit is I found out with this table it has a thin layer of wood on top of what is particle board, so if I would have went any deeper, I would have ruined my table. Here I'm using a microfiber towel to just kind of get some of that sanding dust off of my table because it is going to be ready to paint. What I didn't show was I had sanded the 150 and then gone back over it with the 220. You don't need to go super hard with the 220, you just want to get all those little spots that feel rough, so as you're sanding, feel it at the same time so that you can make sure your table is baby bottom smooth. Ooh, it's so good. Also, you can tell I also did my sides because I wanted that to look like a beautiful slab of wood. You can see that my table is a little shaky, and that's okay. It was just that the leg was a little loose, the little bolts that were in there, so I tightened them after I had finished everything, so no big deal with that. And here I'm just doing a little bit of a wipe down with some water, just to really make sure all that dust is gone and away because we don't want that to interfere with our stain. I know I said paint earlier, but I totally meant stain, so yes, just make sure we get this baby clean. Okay, it is time. I have the poly oil-based semi-gloss clear coat, also found at Home Depot. My mask is a 3M mask with a P100 filter. That means that all of the stuff does not get through that, but you'll be fine with another mask. But I'm indoors with an oil base, so we gotta be safe. Also wear gloves because some of this stuff can be really hard to get off your hands and also toxic for your skin. I know what you may be thinking. You recommended a foam or a fine bristle brush. I did, and I didn't have any of those, and so I used this really high quality rag that my husband has for cleaning guns and stuff. I don't remember the name of them. I just found it and was like, this will work. Later on in the video, you'll see that I did find my fine bristle brush, and I moved on to that because, yeah, that was so much better than this. But for now, you'll just see me make all the mistakes, so don't do what I do, kids. You know, sometimes you make mistakes. When applying any of this product, you definitely want to go with the grain. Don't be too heavy-handed. Yes, we want to get some really great coverage, but if you go too thick, it will take forever to dry, and it may be really, like, just sticky and not look really well. So we're going to do a nice little medium coverage, so not too light, not too heavy. You'll understand while you're doing it if you are going too heavy. You did it. You finished your table, and I really hope it looks so gorgeous. I want to see it. If you want to post it up on Instagram and use my hashtag #LoloRoseDesign, I definitely want to see what it looks like. Make sure you hit the subscribe button because I'm always doing DIY videos. I love to experiment with all things DIY. And if you have any questions or anything, just leave a comment and I will love to help you out. See you next time.